And a little bit about him. I should probably say something about him too. So Yahia is the author of 11 volumes of aphorisms, poetry, essays, and conversations. His latest piece is Quarantine Notes, and it's a collection of his short meditations composed during the pandemic. You can find more of his work at Fermite Press, and his poem was also translated by Osama Esper into the Arabic. So he originally wrote it in English and then got it translated into the Arabic, which I think is sometimes the opposite way of what we usually see in Philippines. So I'll just get started. When I lived in Cairo, Egypt, over a decade and a half ago, I would head to the desert periodically to empty myself of the city's noise, overhear myself, and then lose myself. I approached these desert pilgrimages with the earnest intention and passionate belief that I was going to encounter that part of myself not entirely accessible in other circumstances. In the desert, there's nothing to hide behind, nowhere and no one to turn to. It's where all those mad hermits and mystics, my people, had their visions. It's an extreme environment, and I suppose I felt that if I engaged with that extremity in a committed, honourable way, breakthrough might be granted me. If you were somehow avoiding yourself and you went to the desert, it's likely that you would meet. The rumblings of eternity were there. If you could just be still enough, quiet enough, and indifferent enough to yourself, your many selves, your many frivolous selves. Walking, reading, musing, I felt outside space and time and came to realize the necessity of aloneness. Aloneness as a prerequisite for the sublime sensations or epiphanies I sought. Yes, you could be alone around people, alone in your living room, but if you reach towards this elemental aloneness, one with the sand, the rock, the water, the stars, and the sea, you could experience a deeper innocence and purity of perception, and as a result, become a better witness to the life inside you and around you. The desert doesn't really care much for you. It may perhaps want you there, but it doesn't need you there. It doesn't seek to appease you in any way. It only wants to declare its harsh, bold truths, and if you can stand it, then you might stay. What you hold in the collection is a slender packet of yearning, poems inspired by his desert retreats over the years. So I'll continue, please. I did not fully recognize at the time the nascent thirst in these poetic meditations, or how the profound spiritual longing in these reflections was to mystically point for me the way towards a spiritual and religious life, a path I'm exploring with wonder and humbly deepening nearly 2 decades later. It means a great deal to me that this poetry collection is bilingual and that my words will return to the part of the world that inspired them in its native language. I'm especially grateful that the Arabic is rendered by Osama Esper, a respected Syrian poet, translator, and publisher, who I'm fortunate to call a friend, and who previously has translated poetry of mine for Jadidiyya, which is a really great online publication, by the way. All of the remarkable photographs accompanying the poems, so the poems also have, it's a visual experience, it's a written experience, it's all kind of experience. So all the photographs are gifted by a young Moroccan photographer called Zakaria Wakrim, a kindred spirit who knows well the mystery and magic of the desert. And his thanks and our thanks to Ruwayat, which is the publication, the publisher, who allowed us to reproduce it. So here's his poem, Desert Revisited. Under a whirling skirt of sky, streaming light and stars, groping for that tremendous hem gingerly over quicksand, as though steadied beneath some tongue and dissolving, not the absence of sound, but the presence of silence. Or, as if transfixed by a gaze, stern, serene, surveying a dream, foreign, familiar. Incorruptible starting point, inviolable horizon, where eye and mind are free to meditate perfection. There, begin to uncover, buried in dust and disinterest, the immutable letter, first of the alphabet, Alif. Under the ever-watchful eye, fearsome sun, forgiving moon, bless the magnificent hand, all else is blasphemy, a lie. Experience quietude, the maturity of ecstasy, longing to utter the unutterable name. Only striving, supreme or pure, can ever hope to endure the absolute face, the awesome embrace. That's that. We need a signal.